Han Sen looked in the direction that Son of Fate's gaze had stiffened, and noticed it was Zero who he had seen. She had emerged from the Tree King and was now approaching them. Zero had already returned to her human form, but her hands held a red knife. The knife was around a foot long, and it was completely red. It had skeletal characteristics, and its color made it look like a bone that had been soaked in blood. Han Sen frowned, unsure why Son of Fate would be so scared upon seeing Zero. Impossible, impossible. Son of Fate was screaming like a madman, and he looked horrified. Han Sen looked at him, ready to tell him to shut up, but before he could, a red flash cut across his vision. When his eyes steadied their focus, he saw the blood-bone knife lodge itself in Son of Fate's heart. Son of Fate twitched. All the blood in his body began to course towards his heart, forming a coagulated lump. Then, his skin shriveled and dried out, becoming another unrecognizable skeletal husk of a corpse, just like the rest in the area. Han Sen's eyebrows jumped. He did not know where Zero had gotten this knife, but she had callously murdered Son of Fate with no given reason. Zero walked in front of Son of Fate and pulled the bone knife out of his heart. "Why would you do that? You killed him," Han Sen asked with his eyebrows furrowed. "He deserved it," Zero answered. "Whether or not he deserved it is irrelevant. I asked you why you killed him, so tell me," Han Sen asked again. Zero looked at Han Sen but did not speak. She merely looked at him the same way she always did. Han Sen looked at her bone knife and asked, "Where did you get that from?" "It was inside the tree," Zero answered. "You punched a hole into the tree so you could retrieve this knife." Han Sen was surprised, and so he asked for confirmation. Zero nodded. "How did you know this bony knife was inside that tree?" Han Sen asked. Zero had never been to this area of the second god sanctuary before, so how could she know the knife was there? "It was calling for me." Zero swung the bone knife. Han Sen reached out his hand, attempting to grab the knife and saying, "Let me take a look." But Zero quickly withdrew her hand and snapped, "Don't touch it." "Why not?" Han Sen frowned, thinking Zero was behaving abnormally. "You will die," Zero said with a queasy amount of gravitas. Han Sen froze. He wasn't sure what she meant. Would he die if he touched it, or would she kill him if he laid a finger on it? Looking into Zero's clear eyes, Han Sen pondered which she meant. He returned his focus to the corpse of Son of Fate. He plundered his pockets in search of any notable loot he might have possessed. Son of Fate's body was not heavily clothed, and much of what he wore was already in tatters. After his body had dried up, the clothes were like loose strips of fabric crumpled across a twisted branch. There was nothing to be found. But when Han Sen looked at Son of Fate's back, he was shocked. The tattoo of the nine-life cat had completely disappeared. Han Sen checked every nook and cranny across his body, but he could not find anything remotely similar to the tattoo he had seen earlier. "Do you know who this man is?" Han Sen looked at Zero and posed the question. She shook her head. Han Sen believed she did not know anything, so he didn't ask again. Han Sen decided to ride atop his golden growler and go off in search of the missing Lu Fang and Wang Zhanggang. When he found them, they were still in shock, but uninjured. The curse of the woods seemed to have been lifted, so Han Sen was able to lead them out. The dark-haunted trees and bugs did not look any different than they used to, but nothing prohibited their exit. In fact, they found the borders of the forest relatively soon. The forest was only a few hundred miles wide, at the most. Lu Fang and Wang Zhanggang's joy was only suppressed by their relief after leaving the forest. They believed themselves incredibly fortunate to have survived in the forest all that time, including the dangers that had followed Han Sen's arrival. But still, an uneasy feeling over the ordeal had managed to latch itself onto Han Sen's mind. "If the nine-life cat's necklace is a relic of the Blood Legion, that means I will be able to practice the Blood Pulse Sutra," Han Sen thought excitedly. Although he had already learned the Dongxuan Sutra, the more he learned the better. What's more, the strengths of the Blood Pulse Sutra could benefit his next in lineage, if he ever had a child. Han Sen followed the Blood Pulse Sutra and held the nine-life cat necklace for its practice. It took him half a month before he could label himself a beginner, so it was clearly going to take quite some time before he unlocked its first gene lock. Han Sen made plans to travel to Thunder Mountain, but before he left, someone came looking for him. "Mr. Han, we are from Angel Gene. We would like to request your aid in slaying a super creature. Provided you have the time, we are happy to discuss the price for such an appeal." Zhao Xueven was one of Angel Gene's managers, and he smiled as he made the request. The Zhao family are indeed shameless. First, they want to kill me. Now, they want my help. Han Sen could not help but laugh in his heart. His words told a different story, however, and he responded, "That depends on what super creature you're asking me to kill, and of course the price is mentioned. If you are willing to help us with this task, then rest assured, the price will bring a smile to your face." Hao Xueven spoke softly and paused. After a brief while, he continued on by saying, "We want you to help us kill the Thunderbolt that resides on Thunder Mountain." Han Sen couldn't believe such a coincidence could transpire, as the Thunderbolt was his target too. "Sure. It'll cost you 100 high-class angel gene fluids," Han Sen said, with a puffed-up chest. "Oh, Mr. Han, don't you think that price is just a little bit unreasonable? You know high-class angel gene fluids require royal Shura blood for their formulation. Our relationship with the Shura is bad enough, and so the procurement of this blood is difficult. 100 vials of angel gene fluid is too steep. Besides, we have our own team. We only require your assistance. We are not asking you to take on the super creature all by yourself." Zhao Xueben blushed, undoubtedly feeling rather awkward over the proposition he had to decline. "You said your offer would bring a smile to my face. 100 vials of angel gene fluid is what that would take. If you can't oblige my price, then go ask someone else," Han Sen said sternly. "Mr. Han, your price is far too high. As much as I would like to, I cannot strike you this deal right now, but I will return to the Alliance and consult my supervisor," Zhao Xueben suggested. "I am leaving the shelter 1 hour from now," Han Sen said. Zhao Xueben nodded and said, "I'll be quick, so please wait." Han Sen thought the outrageous price he had suggested would be enough to scare them off and have them quit their intrusion. But unfortunately for him, Zhao Xueben came back with a grin. He said, "Our company accepts your price. I have the vials with me, but will require you to sign this contract." Han Sen was surprised, to say the least. He looked over the contract's contents and everything seemed to be in order. He looked at the crate of angel gene fluid and noticed it had been stamped with their proper official seal. If what was included within was not what he had requested, or if the angel gene fluid inside the vials was a cheap knockoff or a diluted variant of the liquid, he would be able to sue them. Okay, Han Sen signed the contract and accepted the 100 vials of angel gene fluid. When Han Sen left, a middle-aged man approached Zhao Xueben and said, "Manager Zhao, 100 vials of high-class angel gene fluid is far too expensive. The slaying of this Thunderbolt will be good for us, and if the boy does happen to fail, then he'll have to return the vials of angel gene fluid to us anyway. It will be even better for us if he ends up grievously wounded." The dark light of murder flickered from Zhao Xueben's eyes. With Zero in tow, Han Sen went to rendezvous with the members of Angel Gene who were going to accompany him. "Mr. Han, we are off to hunt a super creature. Are you sure it is appropriate of you to bring along a beautiful little girl?" Zhao Xueben mockingly suggested, upon laying eyes on Zero. "It is only a super creature, she'll be fine," Han Sen said as he stroked Zero's head. When Zhao Xueben and Louis Gui heard what he said, they choked on their words of rebuttal. They believed Han Sen was far too arrogant for his own good, but they held their tongues. They brought 8 people to accompany Han Sen on their journey to the mountain where they'd fight the bull. The silver fox seemed very excited, and he jumped on top of Golden Growler's head. He looked off into the distance, peering at Thunder Mountain. His eyes surveyed the lands, as if it was looking for something in particular. Boom! A lightning bolt streaked across the skies like the forming of a spiderweb, illuminating the wet, darkened land. Han Sen used the light to view the black peak they were headed towards. It was higher than any other mountain in the area. "Mr. Han, that is Thunder Mountain, home of the Thunderbolt," Zhao Xueben said as he pointed towards the craggy peak. It took them half a day's travel, all in all, to reach the foot of Thunder Mountain. Every inch closer that they traveled, the dread that the treacherous mountain instilled increased. Lightning continued to flash in the skies, striking the peak a number of times. Each flash sent a number of broken rocks plummeting to the earth below. "Manager Zhao, perhaps that bull is gone," Han Sen suggested to Zhao Xueben. Zhao Xueben wore a look of confusion, and he said, "Whenever we used to come here, it would quickly approach our intrusion at the foot of the mountain. Even if it was on the peak, it should have descended upon us long ago. Today's absence of the beast is strange indeed." "Did the Thunderbolt really leave this place?" Louis Gui asked with concern. "Let's keep going. Don't drop your guard, though, just in case." Zhao Xueben frowned. They had been meaning to slay this Thunderbolt for quite some time. They had failed a number of times and lost many people in their previous attempts. With great worry, they continued their ascent to the peak. All the while, the thunder became worse and worse. After another hour's travel, one bolt struck a man called Feng Lin. He was struck while on his mount, and he was almost killed outright. Heavily injured, the hair of his head had mostly been burnt away. He was shocked. Fortunately, the strike wasn't too strong, and the man managed to stand up after it occurred, much to the surprise of everyone. Everyone took extra care after that, summoning shields and protective armaments for defense against any more renegade bolts of lightning that sought to strike them. As they ascended, everyone suffered at least one lightning strike. Others were unfortunate enough to receive more than one. Only Han Sen and his companions did not get shocked, despite how large of a target the golden growler was. Strangely, the lightning ignored them for the duration of their travel. Han Sen acknowledged this was the work of the Silver Fox. Little Silver, the Thunder Master, could bend the will of lightning to avoid itself and its companions. Han Sen hugged the Silver Fox and quietly said, "Little Silver, could you draw more of the lightning over to them?" The Silver Fox looked at Han Sen and tilted its head, signifying its understanding of Han Sen's request. Boom! A lightning bolt struck perfectly atop Luigi's head. It shattered his armor and knocked him from his ride. He convulsed on the muddy ground, twitching in agony. Everyone stopped to check on his well-being. Fortunately for them, they had all unlocked their genes locks and were able to withstand such hits. This is strange. Why has the lightning not harmed you once? They were starting to suspect something was wrong, and after Luigi was struck again, he couldn't hold himself from confronting Han Sen. "Perhaps it is because I am not a wretched man who has committed several atrocities," Han Sen coldly said. "You!" Luigi was quickly infuriated by the response he was given. He pointed his finger towards Han Sen and barked, "You must have done something. Fine, I admit it, I made the lightning keep striking you." Luigi didn't know what to say. The thunder came from the sky, and Han Sen clearly didn't produce the lightning. Therefore, he didn't believe it was Han Sen, and couldn't outright blame the man for doing what he had truthfully admitted to doing. "Mr. Han, you have misunderstood his meaning. We are wondering if you have a way of preventing the lightning from striking you. Perhaps if you share your method, we could avoid being struck as well. We might finish this adventure a little faster too," Xiao Shueben said. "You must have a beast soul to protect you from the lightning, is that it? Fine. Do you really want to know why the thunder won't touch me?" Han Sen smiled. "Yes, please tell us," Xiao Shueben politely exclaimed. Han Sen did not answer verbally. He looked up and saw another thunderbolt, and as it descended, he threw his fist up high. Lightning came out from his fist and impacted the incoming bolt. The explosion that came as a result knocked everyone down onto the ground. They all looked pale, and many of them started heaving blood. They all looked upon Han Sen with shock, as if he was some god. The people looked on in disbelief. They quickly scrambled to their feet and followed Han Sen up to the peak as if they were his disciples. No longer did anyone think about using Angel Gene Fluid to combat him. How can Sonic Thunder Punch be that powerful? "It's stronger than what most surpassers can do," Feng Lin stated, shocked. Han Sen defeating Yu Qiland was not simply down to luck. "His Sonic Thunder Punch really is that scary," Xiao Shueben said. "What do we do? Do we just keep going?" Feng Lin had lost his nerve and was prepared to escape, and he was not alone in that thought. They knew they weren't half as strong as Han Sen, so they did not dare continue forward. Xiao Shueben sighed and said, "Fine, we'll wait here. If the Thunderbolt is on the peak, Han Sen won't be able to hide his killing of it anyway. He can most likely do it solo." When everyone heard they would not have to reach the top to fight a super creature, they were washed with relief. Through the Silver Fox's protection, Han Sen and Zero had almost reached the top without trouble. Then, he saw something. It's a super creature, and it isn't alone. Han Sen, seeing the peak ahead, looked surprised. On the thunder-wreathed mountaintop rested a silver thunderflower, and in its center, the bud flickered with gold electricity. Near the thunderflower were two super creatures locked in combat with each other. "I've hit the jackpot. Not only are there two second-generation super creatures here, but there's this wonderful little flower." When Han Sen viewed the scene, he became delightfully happy. The silver fox jumped out of Zero's arms with his eyes fixed on the thunderflower. Its previously elegant appearance had been eschewed in favor of hunger, but Han Sen grabbed it by the fur and pulled it back. The silver fox did its best to struggle, but Han Sen held it tightly in his arms. Han Sen knew the flower was something most desirable, and it'd be rich in nutrients for the silver fox. However, there were two super creatures ahead, and neither looked friendly or charitable. If the silver fox approached right now, it'd sight their ire. "Little Silver, hush hush. There is no need to rush. Look closely, the thunderflower has not yet bloomed." If it was ready for consumption, I'm fairly sure those two creatures would be doing more than having a staring competition. Han Sen comforted the struggling silver fox. The words actually calmed the silver fox, and it quit trying to wriggle its way free. Every now and again, lightning struck the center of the flower. Whenever this occurred, the flower was not harmed. In fact, it appeared to become brighter and more lively looking after every strike and shock. It seemed as if it could consume electricity. In the center of the flower, a golden thunder fruit grew. It was currently about the size of an average egg. Gold lightning flickered across it, shimmering in a condensed spectacle that was reminiscent of an aerial view of the galaxy. Han Sen summoned Little Angel and commanded to both her and the silver fox, "Kill the bull first, guys." After that, Han Sen's combined force of sonic and thunder powers coursed this body to gather in his fists. When primed, he took aim at the bull. The little angel flew up high with eyes aflame of a green fire and swung her greatsword towards the bull. Sonic thunder punch exploded, drowning out all other sounds, the desperate cry of the bull included. Han Sen's flaming Rex spike had been shoved deep into its throat, drilling with a mutilating force and a green flame. The silver fox and the spirit owl now struck the thunderbolt in unison. The next moment, Death Knell appeared on top of it. Although it moved slowly, the thunderbolt could not escape amidst the artillery of assault it was incurring. The Death Knell successfully landed on top of it. Dong, dong. When the bell arose, Little Angel delivered one final strike to the thunderbolt's head. Super creature ThunderDevil Bull killed. No beast soul gained. The flesh of this creature is edible, and you may harvest its life geno essence. Consume its life geno essence to gain 0 to 10 super geno points randomly. Upon witnessing the bull's massacre, the three-tailed fox had frozen. It initially believed it was only the two of them who were vying for the fruit, and it didn't expect so many horrible creatures to suddenly appear and slay its sole competitor. Super creatures were intelligent, and upon seeing its situation, the three-tailed fox did not dare remain. It quickly fled the mountaintop. Han Sen commanded Little Angel to chase after it, but not kill it. He wanted it to pursue Zhao Xueben and his people down the mountain. Zhao Xueben heard the sounds of battle drifting down from the peak, and with great glee he said, Han Sen was lying. The thunderbolt was indeed up there. I hope Han Sen and the bull both end up injured. If that happens, we can kill them both at once, Feng Lin excitedly said. Amidst everyone's happiness, a snow-white shadow began to descend from the mountaintop, ready to sour their mood. They initially believed it to be the bull coming down, but upon closer inspection, they realized it was not the bull. It was a fox with 3 tails. Oh no, run, run for your lives. Zhao Xueben's face dropped like a sack of rocks, and he quickly yelled for everyone to flee. Even if they used their angel gene fluid, they couldn't outrun the fox, and not long after, the fox caught up with them. It swung its 3 tails and wrapped them around one person, electrifying him into charcoal. Han Sen and Little Angel caught up and pulled the fox away from the angel gene runaways. Zhao Xueben and his people were currently in terror. Not wanting to stay and fight, they kept on running. The 3-tailed fox was savagely attacked by the tag team of Han Sen and Little Angel, all the while they descended the mountain. Although the 3-tailed fox was powerful, it didn't stand a chance against Han Sen and Little Angel. Mr. Han, kill it. Zhao Xueben called back as he watched the fox ascend the mountain again. Han Sen coldly replied, I won't kill it, this has nothing to do with you. You wanted the thunderbolt right. All I saw up there was this thunderous fox, and it is my prey. After that, Han Sen ignored the terrified collective and brought Little Angel and Zero along with him in pursuit of the fox that was headed back up the mountain. After Han Sen chased the 3-tailed fox back to the mountaintop, the body of the bull had all disappeared. Not even the life geno essence remained. The silver fox was licking its lips happily. When the 3-tailed fox reached the peak, it howled. It ran in front of the silver fox and leaned down with its paws outstretched, as if it was begging for mercy. The silver fox observed the 3-tailed fox's bloodied tails and then leapt on its head, as if it was going to tell Han Sen, this guy belongs to me now. You ate the thunderbolt and didn't even save me the life geno essence. Now you are giving yourself a companion. Han Sen looked disheartened. The silver fox spat out silver lightning to heal the 3-tailed fox. The 3-tailed fox trembled in fear, and in response, the silver fox looked smug. It jumped into Han Sen's arms and then rubbed its head against his chest, as if it was trying to tell him to forgive the 3-tailed fox. The 3-tailed fox seemed intelligent, and it knelt in front of Han Sen as if it wanted to obey him too. I was going to feed it to you anyway. Keep it and spare the cannibalism then. Han Sen then pointed at the 3-tailed fox and said, your name is 3-tail, you got it, now follow me. The 3-tailed fox was well behaved, and it quickly followed as ordered. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.